Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 1832 of What Shifted Now, documenting the journey as I transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business, sharing the good, the bad, the ugly, stories of what's worked, what hasn't worked, both offline and online. Ask a question, I'll be glad to answer it. Kind of an open book here. So today for Supersize Your Business, we talked about the 9-dot puzzle that reminds us to think outside the box. And I did share the solution in case you've never seen this thing, but if you've never done this, I encourage you to do this puzzle. You make 9 dots, and then your assignment is to take a pen or pencil, and you can only draw 4 straight lines to connect all 9 dots. And you can't lift your pencil up off the page. That's the only rule, is that you have to make 4 straight lines. Anyway, that is a fun way of thinking differently that I learned, back in the early 80s. I was in a management training at Procter & Gamble, and one of the instructors taught this way of thinking and the way of looking at problems from a different point of view, a different perspective. That was a great course in that we did a lot of work on thinking differently, thinking for ourselves, problem solving, focusing on the solution, not just the problem, a lot of mindset things. And that's when I really discovered my love of personal development and lifelong learning and things, was at those early trainings in corporate America. Loved college, loved school, loved learning. But once I got into the real world of work in corporate America, I really learned that there were things that we could control that most people thought were outside of their control. Since I was exposed to that early in my career, I had a lot of experience with it, and I sought out opportunities to get different trainings and different certifications and all that crazy stuff. I used to keep track of it. Now, you know, the older you get, the less it really matters. It's what can you do, what kind of results can you get, and how can you help people, not how many letters and accolades and awards do you have. Although I have files and files of those. They're just packed away in my storage unit. So think outside the box was our idiom for today. Our topic for this year's annual challenge, the Get Your Goals annual challenge, is the O in SOAP framework. We're covering the SOAP framework. It's a framework I've used for the last couple of years. I've actually used it for decades, but I just started teaching it in 2020 as part of the pandemic. I was like, all right, what am I going to do to keep moving, and how can I help others keep moving too? And I took the process that I've really used, and I formalized it, and I said, okay, well, what would be an easy, quick way to remember a way to deal with challenges and changes and obstacles and roadblocks and setbacks without having to actually consciously be aware and think of everything that comes down the pipe, because we are inundated with literally millions of decision points and challenges every single day in our life. Even if it doesn't feel like it, subconsciously we're dealing with them all the time. So let's have a framework or, in a way, a tool for dealing with those in the best way possible for us. But then we can also use that same strategy and that same framework when we have bigger decisions to make, bigger things that we want to consider. So we picked a goal yesterday. We told ourselves, what is our current situation? What is our current story about that goal or that area? And what is our desired one? And that creates a gap that the rest of the O, the A, and the P in the framework fill. And the first one is the O, and that's to brainstorm or come up with different possible options to start filling that gap. And then tomorrow, of course, we'll go into the A, and we're going to analyze and then take action on one of those things to get moving right away. The faster we take action after making a decision or a choice, the more it solidifies that decision and choice for us, and tells us if what we're doing is taking us in the right direction or not. So SOAP framework. I wasn't necessarily going to cover it this month, but then I decided the last 4 days of the month, I'm like, my intuition said, yeah, you need to cover it. It's that important that we need to cover it every single month, and we need to break it down and go through it step by step by step, the S, the O, the A, and the P, every month this year. I think last year we might have skipped a month. We might have skipped November or December. We might have skipped both because we did something different. We did No Nonsense November last year with the BU 365-day challenge, and we did a question every day in December, primarily because in November and December I was traveling a lot, and it made it super duper easy to finish off that. Plus, it gave us a break from some really heavy content that we covered throughout the year, bit by bit by bit, so we could go back and we could review some of the things we wanted to review, different for each of us, but that's the purpose of the annual challenge, is to make it your own and create what you want out of it. So the O for in the SOAP framework stands for options or possibilities, and we need to remind ourselves pretty often there are infinite possibilities, and to think outside the box when it comes to coming up with those possibilities. Because if we keep doing what we've always done, we're going to keep getting the same results that we've always got. And the quickest, easiest, fastest way to get different results is to begin by thinking differently. All right, that's it. That's all I've got today. Sunday here in my neck of the woods. So I'm doing some planning for the next week. Got a new baby coming into the household pretty quick here, so working on projects related to that as well. If I can help you in any way, ask. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow.